What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode Podcast interview. First off, thank you so much for tuning in, for checking out the show. Your support is massively appreciated. The only reason that this show exists is because of all of your amazing support. So we truly appreciate your support. I truly appreciate your support. Make sure that you're sharing the show with as many people that you feel would benefit from the show. The goal is to always grow this show and go out there and have a big impact. Real quick though, before we jump into today's podcast, I want to plug our sponsors that make all of this possible. Our first sponsor is my personal 90-day mastery bootcamp. This is my real estate agent mentorship training program. It's a group training platform. This way it makes it extremely affordable for you. Inside this program, however, I am unpacking my entire playbook. I'm walking you through step by step everything that I do inside my real estate business, everything that I've done, everything I've learned in my 12-plus year career with selling over 5,000 homes, with selling over $1 billion in real estate. And I walk you through step by step exactly what I've done, how I built what I've built, and what I'm doing today to go out there and create the success. But don't mistake the low cost for low value. This is an insanely in-depth, step-by-step program where I'm walking you through, again, step-by-step on how I go out there. My team sells 1 to 2 homes every single day in today's market, continue to grow my business year after year, and how I've been able to exit from selling, exit from actually day-to-day involvement in my real estate team, and create an epic, amazing real estate team that not only sustains but grows without my involvement. So whatever level that you're at, whether you're a brand new real estate agent, you're an individual high-producing agent that wants to expand and create a team, or if you already have an amazing team, or you're a broker owner that's looking to step up your internal training, looking to step up your systems, your processes, your tracking, make your business more predictable, this program is absolutely for anybody that's serious about leveling up inside their business. So check us out, www.90daymastery.com. Make sure you use promo code LIVEMASTERY, all one word, all together, all caps. That's going to get you the biggest discount on 90daymastery.com. You're going to see tons of testimonials on there, video testimonials, what's included in the program, the future dates of the program. I do several of these every single year, so make sure to check us out and make sure to jump inside that program ASAP. My next sponsor that makes this show possible is PerfectStormNow.com. If you're a real estate agent and you are looking for a lead generation machine website backed by an insanely powerful CRM system that allows you to convert your leads to appointments at the highest possible level, manage all your tasks, make sure that you're effective and efficient as you possibly can be inside your business, transaction management component, all of that stuff. It is hands down by far the most effective and affordable real estate website and CRM program that exists out there in the industry. It's what I use to go out there and sell 650 plus homes every single year, and the system is gnarly. If you're signing up for that program, make sure to use promo code MASTERY, PSN, all caps, all one word, all together. That'll save you the $200 registration fee and get you a great discount. Our last sponsor is REO University. So I teamed up with a good buddy of mine who is the most knowledgeable dude, hands down, that I've ever met when it comes to REO properties. This guy used to work for the banks directly as an asset manager, and he developed so many of the systems that you see that asset managers and asset management firms and banks use today. This guy sold over 11,000 properties, foreclosure properties, as an asset manager. And he and I teamed up with my experience of working with over 35 banks in my career, selling thousands of REOs, plus his experience. We've created just an insane program. Again, REO University, the website is www.REO University. It's a one-time payment for $997, or you can split that up into 3 monthly payments. This is not a live boot camp like my 90-Day Mastery Boot Camp. This is something that you have access to instantaneously. We'll walk you through exactly how to go out there and get in with the banks. So how to get the business, but then how to service that business at the highest level, how to go out there and complete BPOs, how to complete cash for keys, how to make sure that you're insane at your valuations, how to go out there and make sure that your asset managers are winning and hitting their goals, key indicators you need to look for, and more. There's 22 in-depth, just amazing, powerful modules that will teach you how to become an REO machine inside your real estate business. Now, if you're like me, I don't want my business to ever be in a vulnerable position, right? I don't care if it's a good market, bad market. It doesn't mean that my business needs to be good or bad. My business can always be great. During a market crash, right? There's no such thing as if the market's going to crash. It's just a matter of when, right? But again, you don't need to put yourself in a vulnerable position. You can make sure that your real estate business is 100% recession proof, and go out there and, of course, generate business, do a ton of business regardless of what's happening in the marketplace. And this is exactly how you go out there and do it. And we walk you through step by step. So check us out, REOMasteryUniversity.com. You can learn more about the program, hopefully register for the program, jump on in. This price will not last long, right? We just created this product, rolled it out several months ago, and just getting in the hands of the consumer, and people are having a lot of amazing success. So again, check us out, REOMasteryUniversity.com. All right, again, you guys, thank you so much for watching this show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to share the show. Make sure to comment, like us on YouTube, leave some positive comments. We love hearing back from you guys, and love getting your feedback. Keep kicking ass, and let's jump on into today's interview. What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode Podcast interview. Every single week, we interview top entrepreneurs, top real estate agents, and strip top badasses that are out there dominating their spaces. They're people choosing to not live a life of mediocrity, but instead to go out there and create big, amazing, epic lives for themselves and their families. So today, you guys, got another rock star guest on the show. So our guest today, you guys, has spent over the last decade growing very successful 7+ figure businesses, and has also recently made the move into performance coaching and public speaking. And he specializes in working with high achieving entrepreneurs with helping them create mass momentum in their lives and just, again, helping them go out there and continue to kick ass at that next level. So really stoked and honored to have Matt Balducci on the show. My friend.
How you doing? Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, no, this is gonna be awesome, man. I'm stoked. I know we were kind of talking off air, and it's a lot of commonalities from where we grew up and different things, dude. Yeah, I'm stoked to have you on, man. I mean, you're out there doing a lot of big things. You've done big things in business, and now you're helping other entrepreneurs go out there and crush it. Before we get into what you're doing today, though, I'm always intrigued in our guest journeys that led them here, because I know that you didn't necessarily grow up in this successful entrepreneur family that painted the path for you. So I'm always just intrigued, man. If you walk us through, if we wind those clocks, like, how did this journey begin in the first place?
So where I grew up actually in a small town in Chicago. So we're both Midwest boys, like we were talking about. And my dad's a mechanic and an extreme hard worker, but we were probably just above the poverty line where I grew up. Didn't really know that when I was growing up until I got to college and realized, that a lot of people are a little different than me in terms of their fund, and so in terms of what their parents made income-wise. And basically, I was a freshman, and I was a hard worker in high school, so I ended up playing baseball. I played for the USA team. I won a bronze and silver medal. And when I got to college, which we were just joking about, you have a business on Champaign, I ended up walking on the team there for baseball, but I had an injury that kind of stopped me from playing. And so I took that passion for sports and put in the entrepreneurship, and I started up a small painting company my freshman year, did around $80,000 in revenue, and then I made around $30,000 in income. And at that point I realized, okay, well, entrepreneurship, I don't have to work at that time it was like $7 an hour back then. And I was like, cool, I could make as much money as I want as long as I put the effort in. And so that's kind of triggered me all the way now until I just sold my business, which is really exciting. But I built up a business over the last 4 years, and I just ended up selling it and moving into the coaching space now. So, but it's been a lot of ups and downs, as you probably already know that, being an entrepreneur as well. So,
yeah, no, I love it, dude. So why the what inclined you to make the transition? Number one, to sell, and then make that transition. Kind of walk us through that.
So a big reason that I sold was that this happens to, I think, a lot of entrepreneurs. My business is great. My business partner is even better. And ultimately what ended up happening is over the last 4 years, this is year 5, I grew the business. And the nice part is I was working about 100 hours a week my first year, and then I dropped it down to now I only work about 15 hours a week in my business. And that's what I help a lot of entrepreneurs do. But basically, I systemized it out. But ultimately what happened is the business was taking too much energy from me. And what I mean by that is I wasn't getting the necessary kind of like happiness from it. So like when my phone rang and it was a client call or one of my employees, it wasn't like I was like excited to pick up the phone like I used to be. And that's when I knew that for this business to continue growing, I needed to step out of it and let my business partner flourish. And, obviously as well, it's nice when you can sell your company and make a little money from it as well. But it kind of led me to just I wasn't necessarily happy with even though I was successful, right, with money and stuff, but it wasn't, there wasn't that excitement every day that I used to have. And so I wanted that again, which is what I get from helping a lot of people. So.
Yeah. No, love it, dude. Love it. So yeah. And the fulfillment that comes from, being able to help others, especially when it comes to entrepreneurs, because it's like you're able to go out there and impact the influencers that are able to impact so many lives, and it just trickles down to such a high level. And, but so you sell this company, it's no longer bringing that fulfillment that you just talked about. What kind of clicked and led you though into the actual coaching space? I mean, were you getting, was there the demand there that other entrepreneurs were reaching out to you constantly for help, or, did it just kind of happen over the years of you working with coaches and realizing that this was a passion of yours, or like how did that click?
So I think in general for my whole life, I've always wanted to coach people in general. So when I was younger in my marketing company I ran when I was in college, actually at Illinois, I grew that to about $500,000, and I would coach lots of salespeople. So my company I currently run too, I spent most of my energy actually coaching our sales force because that was my specialty is sales in terms of the business side. And same thing when I was in my marketing company. But what I really enjoyed when I was coaching my sales team was not just teaching them how to sell, it was actually teaching them how to be balanced, how to actually enjoy what they were doing, make more money, and kind of the life skills of time management and productivity and all that. And that's really what gave me the passion and desire. And what ended up happening was November, and I just got back into shape. We were just talking about kids, and I have a 16-month-old, and, they say don't gain the weight your wife gains. And I did. And I got way out of shape. It was actually another part of my kind of being unhappy at the time. And so I got back into shape, and I was at Thanksgiving, and my aunt came to me and she said, "Hey, Matt, whatever happened to you becoming a motivational speaker?" And I started making all the excuses that every single person out there makes. I don't know how, I'm busy, blah, blah, blah. And what ended up happening is I got back and that question wouldn't leave my head. And so I just started putting out YouTube content for free, and then putting out content all over. And I was very private for 5 years because where I'm from, I think realistically why I was so private, and now I'm actually kind of coming out, if you will, is where I'm from. I didn't want my family, my friends to look at me differently from how successful I became in business. And I didn't want to go back home and then everyone, to just look at me completely different. And it's like the weird limitation we put on ourselves when you're from where I'm from. So I started putting out content, and I got calls from a couple of my old business partners. And like, "Dude, I didn't know you do business consulting." I was like, "Neither do I." And then we started working together, and I just started getting that energy back again that I used to have in the beginning of my when I was running my business. And I'm like, wow, so I can make money doing this. I can help people, and I get to impact them in a way that I learned over the last 10 years of owning businesses, that I can teach them all the way I systemized and sell and basically structure to create a scalable business that can potentially sell if you want to in your future. It just got exciting. And then it took me, I was like, well, okay, I can make a couple dollars. And then all of a sudden I was like, wait, maybe I should just make this what I do. And so I talked to my business partner, and he was thinking the same thing. He was like, "Dude, I was thinking about coming to you and asking you if it's time for you to, time for you to either move on or for me to step up. And I said, great, man. And we came up with a awesome deal between the two of us, and that's benefit for both of us. And I'm helping him finish off the fiscal year here, just so we can close out 2018 really, really well. And then he's gonna take over completely in October, which it's like perfect timing for me with my second kid coming. But that's kind of the quick, I guess, the short, quick story that in terms of that. And then, now I'm also pursuing some motivational speaking and things like that. But the coaching has just been absolutely amazing. It's just cool watching people get success that they were looking for, but they didn't know how to before I jumped in, and it's been a lot of fun so far. So,
yeah, no, that's awesome, dude. So, you talked about several times now, systems that allow you to scale your business. And this is, I don't care what industry it's in, this is one of the biggest problems, biggest bottlenecks I see, whether it's doctors, attorneys, real estate agents, painters. It doesn't matter across the board. It just seems like this is where so many people get stuck, and they end up just pigeonholing themselves and have a high paying job, can never scale it, can never delegate, and can never, go out there and create what they want to create. So what did you do? Because you talked about your first year working in 100 hours, and then, over, that 4 or 5 year path and plan through systems, and by dialing this in, we're able to just continue to remove more and more of yourself. Can you kind of walk us through like what you did and maybe some advice that you give to your clients when it comes to, starting to implement those systems so you can continue to increase those capacities? Because it's something, again, I know our audience is always struggling with, and I don't even think a lot of people even realize that this is the true issue, but it always seems to boil down to the true issue, right?
Yeah, so I love that question. I think, so when I started getting these phone calls, it was funny because when you start up a coaching business, in the beginning, you're like, I guess I'm a business coach. I don't really know what I'm going to do. I guess I'm going to coach you on business. And so I had my first 4 clients, and the crazy part, all different businesses. One's a gym owner, a chiropractor, another guy owns a cleaning company, and then a construction business. All of 4 different variations. All of them make 6-figure incomes, but and they were doing well. But there was the gym owner was working 100 hours a week, which is insane to me. And everyone else was working like 60, 70 hours a week. And again, they were making money. And we sat down and I started looking at the first thing, I guess, to give tips to your audience would be that I found that first and foremost, they really are doing things that they shouldn't be doing as entrepreneurs. They're spending their time on tasks that are not paying them at all. So they're doing tasks that they can hire somebody for 10 to 20 bucks an hour, take it off their plate. And even if it decreases their income, and in reality, it won't decrease their income because they're going to be able to take those hours and put it towards sales or put it toward growing. Or they can just freaking enjoy their life a little bit more, especially if they're doing okay financially. But what I found is that they're control freaks typically. I was. That's why I know from experiences, I wanted to have my hand in every single business. But what I first do is I sit down and I look at most people's company and I say, all right, let's just say hypothetically right now you ran, your business grew to $100 million or $10 million even, or $5 million. What roles would you have in your company, right? And you're like, all right, we'd have a CEO, we'd have a COO, we'd have this, we'd have that. And I go, right now you're wearing every single hat, and you're the copy guy, you're the assistant, you're dropping off your FedEx packages, you're doing the sales, you're doing everything. And so what we discovered is that I look at them and I go, all right, let's look at what your strengths are. What do you enjoy doing? And then what can we outsource? So can we bring a salesperson in you can pay them commission? Can we bring on, my last client is a chiropractor. He does very well. He makes almost $500,000 a year. And he's working 60 hours a week, hating it. And I'm like, dude, I can drop your hours in 2 months. And we dropped them from 60 to 30 by just hiring on a business manager. And the craziest part, his income did not change at all. So he actually doubled his income because he's working half as hard now. And so that's the first tip is I find that you're putting hours in the wrong things, which I used to do all the time. My first year I was painting a house. I'm like, what am I doing right now? Because one of my guys didn't show up, and then I realized I'm never touching a paintbrush again, and I didn't for the last 4 years. And and then I hired on, then I was on the phone with all the contractors, and I'm like, why am I talking to all my crews? So then I hired on a production coordinator, and then I hired on district managers to manage my sales force. And eventually it allowed for me to focus entirely on growth, sales, which is what I love, but growth of the business. And so I see that with every entrepreneur out there. That's the first big issue. The second one is, even if they do hire somebody on, the person can't, it's not a plug and play business. And you want to turn your business into plug and plays where, let's say someone leaves, your key employee, which, by the way, this is what the reason I know this so well is it happened to me my first year. My best employee walked out on me, and I didn't have a system in place. So I had to completely spend 30 hours a week on top of what I was doing, training the new person to take over this role, instead of having a plug and play system where I hand them a book and say, here's your scripts, here's what you're doing. Let's systemize it. Because if you systemize it, that's what makes it sustainable. And then it also eventually allows for you to scale it. If you want to open up another location or whatever, now you have your systems that can duplicate. And so those would be my first two big tips. I mean, there's a million tips I could give, but those are what I've noticed is in every single entrepreneur that I've worked with so far I've dealt with it myself as well. So I don't know if that helps at all on that question, but
yeah, no, I love it, man. And I like, when you were discussing a lot of this stuff, right. Yeah, I think that a lot of people, we want to delegate, right. But there is some, and maybe you agree or disagree to this, but there is some importance to, of course, we are wearing all of these hats when we start, but we kind of got to wear the hat for a little bit to know what those processes need to be so we can create the system. So then we know, what exactly we want done when we delegate that out, and what to expect. Like, do I got a rock star? Do I have a dud? Right?
I agree. So I tell anybody, I typically work. So the reason I say this, I typically work with entrepreneurs who already have businesses in place. And it's time now for them to make that transition. I do work with some startups as well. And in those businesses, I go, listen, we're going to systemize this as fast as possible, but you don't have the funds yet. You don't have, you need to make money first. And so you're going to be the CFO, you're going to be the CEO, you're going to be the sales guy, you're going to be this. And, ultimately the tip I give to anyone out there that is starting a company, and this is what I wish I could have, if I went back in time, this is what I would have told myself, is while you're building out all of your systems and you're doing it, write it out, literally type it out, or hire somebody for $10 an hour to literally type out everything you're doing, or video record it if you can, even better, and turn it into training videos. Because then when you bring on employees, the number one issue I see with a lot of people that are entrepreneurs, they don't want to hire somebody because they don't want to, they're nervous. They're nervous because it's going to cost them money, but they're also nervous because they don't know how to manage them yet, maybe, or they're scared to bring on that person, or they're scared that they're going to lose control. But if you can make baby, I joke and say, if you can make baby Joshes or baby Matts, and you bring them in and you can develop them and make them exactly who you are. I work with a guy who's a videographer, and I was talking to him actually today, and he's like, listen, Matt, I need to bring on a new editor. I got too much business. And I'm like, why haven't you hired somebody? He goes, they're not good. They're not going to be good enough. I go, that's your problem right there. They're never going to be as good as you. It's your business. So you have to let go of the reins a little bit on your need for perfection. And you need to bring people in and then turn them into and develop them into who you want them to be. So I don't know if that helps a little bit, Josh, on that one, but I do agree that in the beginning, you better believe it. You're going to wear all the hats. You're going to. So
100%, dude. So, in your bio, I read that, you talk about helping an entrepreneur create mass momentum in their lives. Like, what does that mean? What is momentum? Can you just define what that means and why that should be important to an entrepreneur?
So I'm a huge believer in momentum. If you talk to any of my sales team, they hate that word because I use it so damn much. But I think that momentum in general is not just in business. I think it's outside of business. And I think I was explaining it earlier. So about a year ago, I got really out of shape, and everything about my life was actually going the opposite direction. My business was fine, but everything else was going the opposite direction. My health was shit. My self-development, I wasn't reading as much as I used to. And I had time, by the way. It wasn't like I was working 100 hours a week again. I had hours, and I was spending time watching television. And even though I'm a huge Chicago Cubs fan, I was watching every single game because they finally won the damn World Series. And so I'm sitting there and I'm overweight. I have a multi-million-dollar business, and I'm making money. The bills are paid. The wife's happy. Everything's good. I'm having living the dream from where I'm from, but I just wasn't satisfied, and my momentum was going the opposite direction. So what I believe is that momentum, even in business. So a lot of your audience is real estate agents, especially if you're a new real estate agent. It takes time. Even as I'm switching businesses, I was able to make a quick transition into business coaching because of because I grew businesses, but I'm still learning as I go currently on how to do that. And so what I am a big believer is in go all in as fast as possible. And what momentum looks like for me is consistent action over time equals momentum. So, so if you look there's a million books out there that you can read. One of them's The Compound Effect. And it even talks a little bit about it that, in the beginning, basically it takes about 24 months, almost 2 years typically to really see the compound of your efforts. Now, I'm going to use health here. I know you're a big health junkie like I am. So I'm doing my first fitness show in the fall, and with working out, which if anybody's listening and you work out, you understand that if you go to the gym in the beginning, the first day you go, it's going to be painful. It's going to hurt. But then over time, you're going to look in the mirror and go, okay, I'm looking sexier. And then as you get sexier, then you're going to be like, then you're going to want to go more. And the same thing happens in business. So what I see a lot of young entrepreneurs do specifically is they want to grow these big businesses, and they're spending all their time trying to build a website out. They're trying to do all this stuff that doesn't really matter. And they're not really building momentum at all. They're actually building nothing. They're just putting nothing out there. And what they should be doing is networking, meeting with clients on the phone. And they should have a checklist on how to build momentum. So the way I do it is basically, I should actually show you my wall here, but so I have an insane morning routine that I do. And the reason I created that was because I wanted to create momentum in every aspect of my life. And so some of the things that I've done, and the reason I'm talking about myself for your audience is not to impress anyone. It's so that people understand that, again, a year ago, this was not who I was. And I changed it by creating momentum, and now it's insane. When you have momentum, you can't stop it. It's like trying to stop a fast moving train. If you try to stop a train that's going 100 miles an hour, and you try to hit the brakes, you're actually going to destroy the train. So it's actually really hard to stop something that's moving 100 miles an hour. And so if you're that hungry person out there, like I've been my whole life, but I let myself go. I really did, because I got cocky, complacent along the way. And what I found is that momentum's the only way. You're either going backwards or forwards, which is a cliche, self-helpy thing, but it's true. And every decision you make every day leads you in one direction or the other. And so I actually track everything. I track how much water I drink every day. I eat the same meals every day because it removes the need to do that for my fitness stuff. I read a book a week, and all these little things, and I track it. The reason is because I know that over time, the momentum is going to get so damn good that you're just going to have exponential explosion. And that's what happened in my old businesses before. But I look at it from entrepreneurial side. I look at it not just in your money, because money's money. And I didn't believe it when I was younger, when everyone knew it was like, when you make money, it's not going to buy you happiness. And obviously make a shit ton of it. But what you're going to discover is that, the more money you make, it just gets you more things, and it's great and it's amazing, and you get more opportunities. But the momentum side of the spectrum is the most important. And the reason is that once you have it, don't let go of it and just keep going 100 miles an hour. But I can see it in every aspect of my life. But for anybody that's listening, that's, out there, a real estate agent, man, you should be on the phone tracking how many calls you're making every damn day, who you're talking to, how many listings you're putting up, whatever your metrics are. And I call them momentum metrics. And you figure out what are the metrics that actually are going to lead you to momentum. Because a lot of times people are tracking the wrong thing. And I know I just gave a way too long answer for you, Josh, but basically, I'm super passionate about momentum because I know what it's like not to have it. And now I know what it's like again. And I've had it in my past, but I know what it's like to have it. And if I have a fear, I have a fear of losing my momentum. So I'm just going all in on everything right now, and making sure that I don't lose it. So I don't know if that helps on that one as well.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, dude. And I love that you talk about that you track it, right? Because, tracking, I mean, the only way to create any type of predictability inside your business is through tracking, right? So when you're tracking, if you start to lose that momentum or go in the opposite direction, you can identify so damn quickly, like, where's the bottleneck? Where's the issue? What needs to be corrected? And especially in real estate, but in most businesses as well, dude, it is insane how many people never track their numbers, right? And no matter how many times you tell them, with my coaching class, I'm telling them, I even give them all the trackers, all the formulas already done. They still don't fucking do it, right? It just blows your mind, man, right? So can you walk us through, because I think that this is something a lot of entrepreneurs don't take serious enough. They're so focused on their business, but they're not focused on their personal life. You talked about, hey, I'm tracking even my morning routine and these other elements, because like you, I'm a huge believer in, dude, there is no separation. It's all life. It's all integrated. And you can't affect one area without affecting the other. So kind of walk us through like your morning routine and some of the things that you're tracking in your personal life that seem to also help create massive momentum in your business.
So I can give a couple quick tips. So the first one, I'll tell you my morning routine here in a second because it's kind of long. But the first tip I'll give to every entrepreneur out there that I wish I knew as a younger entrepreneur is you need to set boundaries with everyone, including yourself. So what I mean by that is, I now have a family, which I didn't have before. And, I was the guy that I'd be out to dinner with my wife and I'd get a call from one of my employees and I would step away from dinner, and 20 minutes later I'd come back and ruin the entire dinner, and she, luckily my wife's extremely supportive of me being an entrepreneur, but after a while that can 100% destroy a relationship. Same thing goes for trying to go to the gym. I would go to the gym and I'd be working out and I'd get a call from, a client, and I would take the client call, and then my workout would go to shit and I wouldn't actually get it done. So because I would run out of time. And so what I essentially did was I set extreme boundaries with myself, my employees, even my wife and kids, where I have family time in my calendar and my employees have access to my calendar. And they can go in there and they know if they call me during family time, I'm not picking up the phone. But what I actually did to remove even my desire to pick up my phone, this is how crazy I had to go because we're all addicted to our phones. I had literally put it in my office and I locked my office door during family time so I can't get to my phone because basically even if I say I'm not going to answer the call, phone rings, it's just human nature. We want to pick it up. And so I started setting extreme structured boundaries. And because of that, it sounds crazy, but because of that, my life has actually been more freeing. I have more time on my hands. It's the whole Jocko Willink, self-discipline equals freedom. And obviously you can hear that and go, shut up. That's not real, but it's so damn true. And if I can go back in time, I would have saved myself so many hours, so much heartache, so many issues by just saying, Matt, here's your structure. Don't call me at this time. I would take calls at midnight. And, but here's, I guess, to jump into kind of a quick morning routine. So I'm a big believer that sleep is actually the most important thing you can possibly do. And again, you got a lot of entrepreneurs out there that hear the whole cliche, sleep when you're dead. I used to believe that. I was the guy who was grind. I would willing to burn burn myself out if I had to win. I was willing to do that. But what I discovered now is that sleep is so damn important. So there's a good book that everyone should read. It's called Sleep Smarter by Sean Stevenson. And here's what actually sold me. So anytime you do anything, you have to have again, another cliche, you have to have a reason why you're doing it. And I'm big into health optimization right now because I'm trying to put myself in a complete 180 of where I was at. And get myself to a point where I never look back and never get in that position again. But when I was reading, he said from 10 p.m. at night to 2 a.m. is actually the best 4 hours of sleep you can possibly get. And you get, for all the men out there and even women, but for the men specifically, you get your HGH levels actually skyrocket. So if you're trying to put on muscle, you actually get more HGH. And I see a lot of entrepreneurs staying up till 2 a.m. I was that entrepreneur. And then I would wake up the next morning at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. And have no sleep. And I would wonder why I was so exhausted all the time and not focused. And so what I do now is I structure out my night. So I have a nightly routine and a morning routine. Nightly routine is really quick. It's about 15 minutes. I'm doing a lot of, like I said, health optimization. So I'll leave a couple things out, but basically I read out my goals for the next day and for the next 6 months, and for the next year. I read them all out loud to myself. I go down in my office before I go to sleep. I do that, and then I put on magnesium spray because it calms you down. That you can look that up if you need to on YouTube, but very good. We're all magnesium deficient. And then I lotion up and I do a full on 5-minute stretching. So I do a little yoga or stretching at night. Then I go to sleep. And then I wake up between 4:30 and 5 a.m. every morning. So I get at least 6 hours or 7.5 hours of sleep. And it's very systemized because, again, in that book, we're all are REM sleeping, our REM cycles or whatever. It's funny. I'm not ingrained in the science behind it, but we all need it's hour and a half increments that we need. So if you get 6 hours, you're actually going to be fine. You can't have 6 hours consistently. You actually have to have 7.5 at least 2 times a week. But and I plan that in. But basically, so I know if I go to bed at 10, I can wake up at 4 a.m. and I'll be fine. Or if I go to bed at 9, I can wake up at 9:30. I can wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and have 7.5 hours and be ready to go. So my bedtime. I have a bedtime like a little kid, right? I put myself on a bedtime and I go to bed by 9:30 every single night. In my phone, I even have it in my phone. It actually yells at me at that time, "Hey, Matt, it's bedtime," so I don't forget, even though I won't. And then I wake up in time, and just like anybody else, every morning's a struggle. I get out of bed, and it's not like it's like boom, but I get out of bed, and every morning I say, "All right, Matt, you can go back to sleep." And you're going to miss your morning routine. If you miss your morning routine, you're not going to be as clear and focused today. Because when you go to the gym and you leave, you get this huge endorphin and dopamine hit and you feel freaking amazing. And after my morning routine, I get the same hit. And if I don't do it, I feel groggy, less awake. And so even though you're waking up earlier, so I wake up, I drink a apple cider vinegar, and then I run down to sit downstairs so I don't interrupt my wife and my kids sleeping. And I take a cold shower, a 3-minute cold shower. And then I do some skin brushing, some magnesium spray, lotion. Then I meditate. I read my goals again. I visualize. And then I do stretching, morning stretching, and then I eat my first meal for the day, and then I drop my son off at daycare. I do family time, then I drop my son, and then I go to the gym. And so very structured day. There's probably a lot of little things I'm missing now. For anybody out there that's like, damn, Matt, that's crazy as shit. The reason it's not that crazy is it took me a long time. I added things on as I went, just like we talked about momentum earlier. It's not like I said, all right, today I'm going to do 13 things in one morning, because that's just like going to the gym your first time. You're going to burn yourself out and you're not going to want to do it. So I just started adding things on as I started learning and reading about it. And as I started learning and reading about it, now even my 3-minute shower, this is how crazy I get. And the reason I'm saying this, guys out there, is tracking is so damn important. I put on a timer. I put a 3-minute timer on my phone, because I know myself that if I go in there, I'm not going to be able to count 3 minutes, and I'm not going to want to. And plus, I'll probably jump out early if I don't need it. And oh yeah, I do some Wim Hof breathing before I jump in. So there's a lot of little techniques that I've learned along the way that have helped me. And after that hour, I just feel like I drank 3 cups of coffee. My brain is ready to go. I'm ready to go, and I'm just happy. And so, sorry for the longness of that again, but it's just I wish I want to tell everyone structure, just structure out everything. And it's not as, you're not enslaving yourself by any means. I always thought as an entrepreneur, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, I could do whatever I want all the time. It's no, actually as an entrepreneur, you need to actually structure yourself even more than an employee does, and go from there. So I hope that helped a little bit.
No, it's awesome, dude. No, it's killer. And yeah, I mean, so many people just start their days off in such a reactive state, and they just get with just enough time, and the whole day just ends up being a cluster. And, but when you study the greats out there, and listen to guys like Tony Robbins, as an example, I mean, he talks so deeply about putting yourself intentionally in the best, mental, and physiological state that you possibly can to go out there and execute as your best self. And like, I don't know anybody that's massively successful at self-made that doesn't have a very strict daily, if not, morning and evening ritual.
Yeah. I'm a big, so basically after I started reading all these books and watching tons of podcasts, watching your podcast and a lot of different awesome podcasts, it's just insane the amount of people who, they're just like, dude, you have to start your day with X and start small. Just start by waking up early and, doing a quick stretch, right? Or something that's super easy. But this from probably all your network and the people that are super successful. I literally have not found anybody who wakes out of bed and doesn't do something before they go to work. And it's crazy because I was that guy who, if I had a meeting at 9 a.m., I'd wake up at 8:30. Right. And I would jump out of bed and I'd be like, crap. Then I would scuffle down some crappy food in the morning and then run it, try to jump in a quick shower. And then I would jump on my meeting and it's like, no, you don't have any time for yourself at all. And then you go to your job and then you get out of work or whatever you're doing. And then you come home and you watch TV until you go to sleep and you do the same thing. And now you're actually not being at all productive in your actual optimization of who you are as a person, So, but yeah, I'm in agreement. Huge agreement. So.
Yeah. You brought up the book, The Compound Effect, and Darren Hardy's, one of my mentors. And
that's awesome.
This is just something he preaches so ungodly heavily. And this is a dude hanging out with and interviewing the most successful human beings on the planet, and he just he's the modern day Napoleon Hill, right? And then another one of his mentor clients who I just had on the podcast a week ago, who is the CEO of Renter's Warehouse, which is close to being $1 billion company, right? And dude, he spent, 20 minutes talking again about the importance of bookending your days, having the beginning, having the end, having those routines. And it's again, just something that is of such high importance that I wish more people would pay attention to, because I think it's just all business, right? But if you can't execute with a clear mind, have that clarity with massive energy, like how can you expect to have success over there?
100%. I agree.
Yeah. So fast forward to what you're doing now today. I know that you've got with your coaching. We talked about your coaching that you do and some of the programs that you offer. I was reading something that you have a 100-day program that really helps accelerate the process where you can get in 100 days done more so than you could in 365, right, by going with their old routine. Can you just kind of elaborate on what that looks like and again, just some of the programs that you offer?
Yeah, so I appreciate that, by the way, as well. But so it's called the 100-Day High Performance Accelerator, and it's kind of nuts because I created it by doing it. And so what I've done is, and I didn't realize I was creating it as I was doing it, but everything I just talked about, the morning routines and all the structuring and the productivity management and all the goal reading, the visualization, the meditation, all of that stuff. I actually, it's again, and I hate to say it like this, but in 100 days ago, the amount of stuff I've completed in my life surpasses what I've done in the last 2 years. In terms of my health transformation, my body fat went from 27% to under 9%. I never had a six-pack in my life before. Now I have one. And I looked at my relationships with my wife and kids. And I was already a great dad and a great husband, but I definitely wasn't spending enough time with my wife specifically. My kids 100%. And so I started structuring that out. Literally, she knows it. I know it. We have, after the kids go to bed, we actually have our hour at night every night because we both are busy. And we focus on that before we do anything. We have our date nights, stuff like that. And I started looking at every single aspect of life and going, all right, how can I optimize myself? But not only optimize, how can I speed up time? How can I just not have to wait to be, more successful or make more money or whatever. And obviously a lot of people that are listening are probably like, Matt, okay, we get it. Relationships. And some people are probably super young watching. They don't have families or anything like that. The key here is if you want to make more money, which is I want to make more money just like everyone else. You know, and I haven't brought up money, but I do. I help my clients make more money. But you can't make more money if you don't optimize everything else. So when you get, like you were saying, you hit it on the head, Josh, when you were saying that when you have a morning routine, you're structured, you actually get more clear. They've actually done proven scientific studies that you can think faster, you can actually visualize better, you're going to have more confidence. And I believe health optimization specifically, if you want to be an influencer in whatever space, if you want to be the next best freaking real estate agent or entrepreneur, and you walk into a room and you are freaking jacked, you don't need to be a bodybuilder, but you're jacked. People look at you differently. When you walk in, there's a good book, The 12 Lessons of Life by Jordan Peterson. His first chapter in that book literally talks about if you put your chest out and you walk more confidently, your status goes up instantly. But if you do that and you're overweight, and it is what it is, but if you're overweight or whatever, when I was overweight, I definitely lost some of my status because I wasn't preaching, doing what I was preaching. And so, but the 100-day high performance accelerator, to answer it a little more quick, is basically I get a year's worth of results for somebody in 100 days, and everyone's slightly different, but we do focus on all those other aspects. But everyone I work with are entrepreneurs and salespeople. And so essentially what they come in and they say, Matt, I want to make more money. I go, great. So let's look at your structure. And what I notice is everyone I've ever met with that needs my coaching, they don't have structures even in their businesses either. And they definitely don't have structures from, I call it the 5 to 9 in the morning and the 5 to 9 at night. Those 8 hours go unused, and they're not using it for anything. And so they're just kind of working to work, and then they're not tracking anything. So it comes back to momentum metrics like I was talking about earlier. So we come up with what their specific metrics are going to be. What are their goals? And then we systemize it out to where for 100 days specifically, we have plans in place, and you meet with me once a week or once every 2 weeks. But we chat. You have unlimited access to me as well through Voxer and also through email. And basically we do updates and we have a tracker and all that kind of stuff. But as you go, I had a guy the other day, he's an insurance salesman, and he was only doing 2 meetings a week, 2 client meetings a week. He's up to 7 client meetings a week now. And it took about a month to get there, but now he's going to hit about 30 client meetings this week. And he went from making 2 sales a month. This month he's going to make 10 sales. And it sounds crazy, but I don't actually think that I taught him any extra things about sales or business. What I did was I systemized his whole life, and it allowed for him to be more strategic on when he was doing things. And so that's my kind of main program. And then I have one for bigger entrepreneurs, people that are making over $100,000 or more, and they're actually the reverse. They want to drop their hours, keep their income the same, or increase it. And I call it the 6 S's of business growth, which is sales, structure, which we're talking a crap ton about right now, which is great because I think it's important. Systemization of your business, and then those 3 will lead into the other 3, which is sustainability, scalability, and sellability. And so those are the 2 main programs that I work with. But the cool part about both of them is I'm not teaching it from a level of just making it up. I literally live the 6 S's. That's why I created it. I called it that because I literally was like, okay, what did I do in my business? And then the 100-day stuff, I literally do it every day. If anybody wants to follow me on Instagram, you go to my story. I actually take a photo of when I wake up in the morning. It's actually for myself, to hold myself accountable. And I do these little psychological tricks to keep myself structured because it's so damn easy to jump off, especially when you start getting success again. So, but those are the 2 main programs I roll with in terms of that.
Awesome, dude. So if somebody that's watching or listening right now, if they want to, learn a little bit more about them, have a conversation with you about them, move forward with them, where's the best place to do that at, Matt?
So I am offering, I told Josh this before we hopped on, I'm offering anyone out there just for Josh's community. If you want a 60-minute session, it's free, doesn't have to lead into anything. Typically it's about $500 that I charge for those. But I'm going to give those away just for free. And basically we can chat, we can look at where you're at, what your goals are, see how committed you are. And if either of those programs actually make sense, you go to the website is go.mattbalducci.com. Untitled.Chapter/momentum, which is funny that we talked about momentum. Or you could just, if you just want to get free content and you're like, listen, Matt, I just want free content. You go to my YouTube channel. I put out 2 videos a week. And then if you want more content, my Instagrams are Matt Balducci or Matic Shock Fitness. And those I post every single day. And again, it's all psychological tricks for myself to keep me going to the gym, to keep me structured. And if people get value from it, they get value from it. If they don't, it's keeping me motivated and keeping me going. But those are a couple of places. You can also check my website out at mattbalducci.com. But again, it's go.mattbalducci.com/momentum is the easiest way to set up a 60-minute call.
Yep. Love it, dude. And those that are watching and listening, I don't care where you're at, YouTube, the website, iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you're at, there'll be links right below with all those websites, everything that Matt just discussed. And you guys make sure to take them up on that, man. I mean, you got an hour free of coaching, whether his platform is something that, you decide to go with or not, man. I mean, this is a very successful entrepreneur that can spend some time with you and give you some key points to help you take your life to the next level. So make sure that you take action on that. And I know we interview podcasts with this, you guys, but information without implementation truly is just the start of delusion. Information isn't power. It's taking that information, taking action on it, that allows you to create the power for you to create the life that you know you want and deserve. And Matt shared so many amazing pieces of advice with you guys today. Take something that you learned, take action on it. So again, you can create the life that you know you want and deserve. And Matt, dude, this has been a lot of fun, man. Truly appreciate you taking time. I'm busy to be here.
Awesome, man. And I'm excited. I got to meet another Midwest boy, and I was like, Michigan, no way. It made me happy. But I appreciate you, Josh, and obviously what you're doing is freaking amazing. So I love it. So keep kicking ass, and I appreciate your time.
Yep, 100%, my friend. Thank you for the kind words, and thank you guys for watching and listening. Again, we will see you next time.